So I want to start this video off right here. PlayStation 5 won't be available for in-store purchase on launch day. Sony confirms. It's going to be the same with the Xbox as well, folks. I want to bring this up as just kind of a service announcement to you guys because I know a lot of you are probably gamers and a lot of you probably want one of the new consoles. Why I'm telling you this is in case you didn't know, don't bother going to a store on launch day trying to get one unless you've pre-ordered it already and gotten one. They're only available online. Now they're doing this obviously for coof reasons. They don't want people going in and out of stores nonstop. That's why they're doing that. So this is also kind of bad news because now this means people are going to be using those stupid bots, those shopping bot things, to snag these up all year. So it's probably going to be next to impossible to get one unless you make your own bot program to try to get one. So that's kind of the downside to this. So it's going to be hard to get one unless you're just constantly looking. So that does suck. But let's get into the real matter at hand here. Reviews are coming out for these systems now. And I thought it would be fun to take a look at one because it's pretty cringy. So it's not just Kotaku. There are other outlets talking about this, but this is by far the worst. I really like to make fun of Kotaku and Polygon because I consider them plagues to the gaming community. They're by far the worst outlets that exist. I really don't know how Kotaku especially exists because like I try to make this point a lot so it sticks with people. Everybody at Kotaku starts off at $50,000 a year. You make $50,000 a year to write nonsense like this. You're not even a real gamer, but yet you work at Kotaku. I don't know how they make money. I have to imagine that on salary alone, Kotaku probably has $1 million tied up. And I'm highly effing doubtful that Kotaku pulls in $1 million of revenue. They're basically losing money every day. How do they stay afloat? That's the real question. Who's funding this shit? Who's keeping them around? That's the real question. Who's paying for this? But anyway, let's take a look at this. And I want to make that 50K point for a reason because it's going to come up again. But here's the Kotaku review, which annoys me to no end because it's Kotaku. And I just find everything about Kotaku complete cringe and annoying, the damage they do to the gaming culture and the cringiness of their articles. Just listen to how this starts. We're going to skip. I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's a terrible review. And you can find better reviews elsewhere, especially on YouTube. There's some good gaming channels that have already had these things for a while. But listen to this. Okay, starts off with this thing like he's writing a crime novel. I'm sitting at my desk staring at my PlayStation 5 looming over my media stand. As it's a little too grandiose for the small piece of Target furniture that holds all my gaming stuff. And wondering how the hell I'm going to review this thing. How would my boss, whose various PlayStation 4 reviews I've skimmed several times so as to glean some insight into what I should cover, review this thing? How can anyone, at this very moment in time, review this thing? Because he's talking about the election. Well, what does that have to do with a PlayStation 5? Why does it sound like you're writing for fiction? You're putting some kind of novel together. It's a review. It should start right here. Let's just start with the basics. Anyway, that's the point. The point here is the way he writes. It's a beefy boy in there. Oh my God. But here's what really annoyed me. Okay. This is what really annoyed me was this paragraph, which prompted me to want to review this review and go over it. And I'm glad I did because it's full of all kinds of nonsense. And I'm going to show you. Look at this headline. Cutie with a booty. How can any gamer take this outlet serious? I truly do wonder. Who reads this shit? Who comes to Kotaku for honest reviews? And I love how on every review they put the Kotaku review. Like it's some kind of definitive thing. Do any real gamers, and I truly do ask this in the comments, I'll look for it. Do you go to Kotaku for anything review-wise? Does anybody go here for a real review? Does anybody even read this website? I would love to see their traffic. That's what I'd really like to know the traffic that Kotaku gets. I honestly really want to know how many people visit this damn website daily. That's what I really want to know. What's their click off rate? Their click off rate too, because I've seen it for some website. I need to find that website that shows you these statistics. The best one was for Bleeding Cool, that comic book website. Let me sum it up like this: people would go to Bleeding Cool, and then they jump off. Like literally, they're on the article for 2 seconds because they got clickbaited onto going. I bet you it's the same way with this website. But anyway, listen to this. Sony provided me with a retail PlayStation 5 2 weeks ago. I've spent those 2 weeks playing these various games, blah, blah, blah. I've messed around as much as I can with its settings, trying to familiarize myself with its copious, cascading menus. I've also wondered if anyone even has the energy to care about, let alone the means to buy, a $500 electronics anymore. Okay, he got this for free, but I was wondering, like, who's going to buy this one? Are you kidding me? This dude, here's the TLDR of this entire article. The guy's depressed because of the election, and he's depressed that he had another white man is sitting behind the desk. I'm not even making that up. This is a true story. I would go right down to it because we're not going to read through this. The point was the cringe of this article. Can't quit you. Let's just go right down into it. It's right at the end, and this is where I got the real. Look how long this nasty review is. Okay, so but does it really matter? This is where we're at now. Does it really matter? Like basically, do you care about the PlayStation 5 because of the election? They're still depressed. So Joe Biden likely going to win, right? I mean, it's kind of looking like that. Still depressed that Joe Biden won. Like over Trump, who's orange man bad has been the story for the past 4 years, but because it's another old white man, this dude's depressed and is depressed. Got a free PlayStation 5, makes $50,000 a year, and this person's depressed. You have a PlayStation 5. You know how many people would love to have a PlayStation 5 right now? And this guy's talking about $500 is too much for a console. I actually would say it's pretty cheap if you think about what this thing can do. The way that they've managed to cut the cost down. Because remember, everyone thought this thing was going to be like $800. But anyway, I just want to go over this last part here, okay, and then we're done. We're not going to read the whole thing because this review is terrible. But listen to this. But I'd be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited for the PlayStation 5. The world is still reeling under the weight of the pandemic. There are more Americans out of work right now than at any point in the country's history, with no relief in sight. Our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life-saving medications like insulin and choose taking themselves out over suffering with untreated mental illness. As I'm writing this, it looks very likely that Joe Biden will be our next president. But it's clear that the worst people aren't going away just because the new old white man is sitting behind that desk. Well, at least not this old white man. And finally, our government is fundamentally broken in a way that necessitates radical change rather than incremental electoralism. The hard truth is that for the reasons listed above and more, a lot of people simply won't be able to buy a PlayStation 5, regardless of supply. Or if they can, concerns over increasing austerity in the United States and the growing threat of widespread political chaos. You get the point. Basically talking about privilege, Medicare, the election. What does any of this have to do with the PlayStation 5? Your review is going to age like milk, but that doesn't matter. They don't care about that. It's never about the review. Just funny. Look at this. The purpose of the review, even though I'm comfortable enough to have bought my own, I got this one for free. Oh, my God. Do you see the cringe that is Kotaku? Okay, no one wants to read this when they come to a review, but no one's going to read this anyway, except me. And some of you who sat through this review. What is this? How do they... I do find a lot of this funny. It's almost like a preview of the next 4 years. Well, 2 years, because I think eventually... well, I don't want to get into that. We'll save that for a live stream. But anyway, aside from, talking about it once in a while, you got to hear about this guy's depression. instead of getting to learn about the actual PS5. What is wrong with the world? Anyway, that's it. What did you guys think about this? Let me hear your thoughts. If you would like and share the video, I'd greatly appreciate that because YouTube is doing something. It's not just my channel. A lot of other channels are affected right now. So sharing videos from your favorite creators really, really helps a lot. Also, if you would make sure you're still subscribed, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell. Appreciate that. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.